Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Television Podcast with your hosts, Jay and Chris. We're here tonight talking about the new Game of Thrones Season 8. So we got the premiere episode.
The big and final season.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Everybody's been talking about this one.
Yeah. So what are we drinking tonight before we get started?
So tonight we are themed drinking the White Walker edition by Johnny Walker. Had this before, but had to bust it out again just for the premiere.
Okay, excellent.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to drinking some, so cheers.
Definitely, cheers. Yeah, in addition to that, we've got a couple other limited edition whiskeys that we've acquired. There's a few more out there that we hope to pick up, but got 4 of the 8. So.
Have you tried those yet?
Nope, those ones are going to be sealed up, I think. I don't know if I'll open those or not.
Okay, those ones might just sit on the shelf and
they might just be decorations. So
hand those down one day, you know?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, I'm looking forward to those. Well, I guess we should talk about our history with Game of Thrones. So you've seen every season.
Yes.
Okay. I've seen seasons 1 through 5, but I missed 6 and 7. So I'm stepping into 8 kind of with a little bit of a blind spot, but it felt very familiar.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job of recapping, I think, before the start of every season and even the start of every episode. They'll give you some updates on seasons past, kind of what they're preambling for that episode. You know, they'll pick little bits and pieces here and there. So
I did see a little bit of the final season 7 episode right before 8 started.
Yes.
They were playing the last 2 episodes, which looked like they were very long, like an hour and 20 minutes. And I think we're going to see that for the same episodes this season.
Yeah, I know I think the last 5 are going to be longer. I was kind of disappointed that the first episode was...
It was less than an hour.
Yeah, it was a standard length. Definitely some major things happened, but not quite what I thought they were just going to hit the ground running, coming right at us with, you know, maybe a main character death. I know they set up a lot of plot points. People are coming back together from all over the kingdoms. So it was understandable. They had some setup to get everybody in the same spot, but I think episode 2 is going to really have some...
Kick it up a notch?
Oh, yeah, I think for sure they will.
So, season 5, I saw a lot of stuff that happened with Ira and the Mountain and all these other characters throughout the years, but it looks like I missed out on the Three-Eyed Raven. Is that what it was called? Three-Eyed Crow or something?
Yeah, Bran, he can see the past and future by becoming the Three-Eyed Raven, and he's going to be playing a major part, I think, in how everything plays out. We saw it with episode 1. You know, he was sitting there in the courtyard, and he said he was waiting for an old friend to show up.
Which was a great callback, even for somebody like me that hasn't seen it in years.
And then, as we saw right at the end, you know, Jaime Lannister showed up, you know, hidden in dark cloak so nobody could recognize him, but Bran, he was sitting there waiting. So he's going to play a big part.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. So we saw the end of the last season. It looks like White Walkers built this army. There's giants, they have a dragon, all this stuff going on. They get up to the wall, and they just put a hole through it like it was nothing.
That's the benefit of having a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
it's like a cheat code.
It is, yeah, for sure. So they made quick work of that wall that was supposed to keep them out forever and ever. But you get a dragon, you can do whatever you want. So they're marching straight south. And, yeah, we'll see. Can't wait for the big battle.
Okay, well, after we got through that, we get to the intro, which was awesome. Like, right away, we recognized this was totally different.
Yep.
And I read online today that I think it was 100% new footage. They didn't have to draw a map of all the kingdoms and locations like they did on the previous seasons. They just focused on, you know, what's going to come up in this season.
Yeah, you could tell right off the bat they updated the wall with a big hole
with a big hole in it. That was crazy, yeah.
And it looked really, really good, actually. I thought it almost, you know, you could tell it was like a miniature set. But I'm sure it was still all CGI. But they did a really good job, I think, updating that, making it, you know, relevant to the season, not just the same thing recycled over and over again.
I think they even won an Emmy for the previous intro. So well, it makes sense
they
put a lot of
good
money and detail into it.
Definitely.
So good for them.
So coming into it for not watching for a couple seasons, what were your thoughts? Did you have any insights on who you thought might come out ahead or what you expected to see in the opening of the final season?
Jon Snow still kind of being in charge. He's no longer King of the North, but still having power, obviously. He's with the Mother Dragons now.
Yeah.
Are they married?
No.
Okay, so
No,
they're
not
just
married.
together.
They're courting each other. You can tell that they definitely have feelings. Everybody else can tell that. And as we found out at the end of the episode, they're related. Which throughout the past, season or two, there's been some hints to that. Jon didn't necessarily pick up on them as he probably should have. Targaryen is really the only one that can ride a dragon.
Which he does in this episode.
Which he definitely does. And even before that, he wasn't killed by the dragon last season when he saw it up close. So there was hints to him that he should have picked up on. Maybe he did and just decided to look past it and focus more on, the present.
Because he's had a complicated, family history and stuff
definitely.
already. So,
yeah.
With his dad, he's supposedly being a bastard child and all sorts of stuff. So, yeah, maybe he doesn't want to think too deeply about it.
Yeah, so it's understandable, but he was confronted with it at the end of the episode, Hey, you guys are related, you're the true king.
And he said that's treason. He doesn't want to be killed for bringing that up.
Yeah, he seems to kind of... That doesn't seem to suit him as, what he wants to do. He'd much rather just protect his people, and he doesn't care about the title or status, as some people do.
If they win against the White Walkers, what do you think he's going to retire and do? At a ripe age of like 30 or 35, whatever he is.
I
be
think,
a farmer?
I think to him, he would love to just go off with Daenerys, just the two of them, and raise a family.
Yeah, find an island somewhere or something.
But now that he's family, he's an aunt, or that's his aunt, so we'll see if he cuts it off right away or if he just fights through it and says, we're going to do this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. What else stood out to me? I think seeing Sansa remarried was kind of just reminiscent of how her character's been through the whole time. She's either been taken advantage of or struggled to stand out on her own. So, I mean...
now that she's back home in Winterfell, seeing this whole foreign army come up, definitely... She wasn't happy about it. She knows it's necessary. Jon Snow went out of his way to go bring this unsullied army up to fight off the White Walkers, but she feels like she should still be in charge. It's her. She's the lady of Winterfell.
She doesn't like Daenerys, it looks like.
No, there's definitely some tension there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how the aristocrats were. They don't like when other people come in on their turf.
Yep, absolutely. Especially people with more power than them.
Yep. So there's tension there. The whole marching through town. Arya was looking in from the crowd, just unsuspecting. Nobody really knew who she was or really paid attention to her. Kind of brought us back to when she was younger. Doing the same thing. She was the kid, kind of going through the crowd and was just at awe of all the soldiers.
It was a great callback. I like that. Yeah. Another thing is that when her brother passed by, she opened her mouth like she went to say something and then froze up or just couldn't or whatever. But they did end up reuniting later in the episode.
Yep. Which had been since, I think, the beginning of the show.
Yeah. So
it's been years and years since
it was really cool that it's finally, bringing everybody back together and kind of been waiting for this since
everybody's
the very first
coming
season.
back to Winterfell for the big finale.
Yeah.
Everybody but Cersei. She's staying back.
She promised that she's sending troops, though, and I don't see that happening.
That's what she does. She makes promises and then backstabs people to suit her needs and her wants.
So, yeah, that's another thing is she really seems to still be playing the political aspect of having a title.
Status for her.
Title, power.
She's the queen now and nobody can touch her. She wants to stay that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe she doesn't understand that, if everybody else gets killed, they're going to come up and kill all her whole army and everything else, too.
I guess when the time comes, she'll adjust accordingly.
We'll see. And then we got this whole, Greyjoy army of boats that are out there, and that's kind of an aspect that was getting started, like the 5th season, I think, when I watched, and then I kind of lost out on all of it.
Well, he killed his brother, kind of took captive his niece and nephew, sailed to bring the fleet to the queen because he's got a thing for her. He wants to be with the queen, which he ends up doing. And it seems like their dynamic is goofy as it is. I guess we'll see if she's strictly using him, or if she might, want to keep him around. But that's another interesting dynamic that we'll see how it plays out.
So you've watched all the episodes up until now. Was there anything that stood out to you that you weren't expecting, or did everything kind of just flow exactly like you thought it would?
I knew Jon Snow had to find out about his lineage sooner than later. That had to be, done. So having that come out the first episode of season 8, that made sense to me. I honestly thought that there would be a major death happen in this episode, which there wasn't.
There wasn't a major death, but there was a kind of gruesome kid, like displayed up on the wall, almost like a True Detective symbol.
Yeah, that was the White Walkers symbol. They've done that before in the past. They cut off limbs. There were some arms, some legs, spiraled around him. And of course, when they got close, the blue eyes came and he tried to get him, but obviously he was skewered to the wall.
Yeah, nothing he could do. But the blue eyes, that was actually a pretty good joke they had in there where one of the other guys, they saw him, they're like, oh, he's got blue eyes, be careful. He said, I've always had blue eyes.
Yeah, that was a redhead joke for sure.
Yeah, I actually think the humor was turned up a notch a little bit this season compared to the ones I saw before.
Yeah, I think that's a good trend nowadays. A lot of movies and shows are, no matter how dramatic it is or dark, throwing a little bit of comedy in there really.
Yeah, and they did it at good points.
People like it.
You don't want to, a very dramatic or character-defining moment. You don't want to break it up.
But just enough.
Yeah, just a little bit. That's nice.
Spice it up. So that pretty much, at the end of episode 1, Jon finds out that, he is a Targaryen. He's the true king. We'll see where episode 2 picks up. But I anticipate there being something big happening. I don't know exactly what yet, but I think we'll see one of the main characters either get in a really big pinch or possibly even die.
So this next episode, I think, is probably an extra 30 minutes compared to what this one was. So, yeah, we don't really know where the White Walkers are at the moment. I expect we'll probably see some sort of... we saw the one town was taken out, but maybe, some other straggler towns or start getting killed. Yeah,
the Night's Watch, they're slowly working their way towards Winterfell, and that's where they, found their... they've already been to that castle. They were too late. So I think in the next couple episodes, everybody that's going to make it to Winterfell will be there, and they're going to start gearing up to fight the White Walkers.
Do you think we're going to lose any major characters in the next episode or two before we get towards the finale episodes?
I think we will.
Who are you thinking?
I don't know yet. I've been trying to pinpoint who's going to be the next to go.
So I think Bran's safe. They kind of held him all the way from the beginning of season 1 all the way till now to be useful. So I don't think he's going to go. I think Cersei's going to stay. She'll probably die in the finale. Anybody, I'd say...
Bran has a connection to the Night King, so he's got to stick around until at least he's dead.
Yeah.
Or Bran dies. But, I think he's safe. We'll see how he treats Jaime now that he's in town.
Right.
If he rats him out to the Starks, or if he keeps his anonymity and uses him for something else.
Like a pawn or something.
Yeah.
So I have 2 characters I think that might die. One, Jaime, potentially. And the second is Jon Snow's buddy from the Night Watch. The guy that had his brother and father killed.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name is.
He wasn't too happy to... his name was Samwell.
Samwell, that's what it is, yeah.
He wasn't too happy to find out that Daenerys had executed his father... Well, mainly his brother. Yeah, I think he could have swallowed his father being killed. He had some sore feelings towards him. Obviously, he was exiled to the Night's Watch. But the fact that his brother also was killed.
Which was a great bit of acting, because you could see the difference in emotion on his face when he heard about his father. He's disappointed, but kind of understood, and then he really saw the brother news sink in, and he did a great job.
Yeah, and when he confronted Jon Snow about that, he said, you've pardoned people in the past for doing wrong things. You think she should have done it. and it's really a power struggle. You know, it's just the whole ruling. You know, everybody does things differently, so he was upset for sure, but there's nothing he can really do about it now.
Yeah, nothing now. You think who do you think the first main character is going to be to go?
If I had to guess, I think it's going to be probably Jamie, but I think he'll be doing something for the good.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's kind of slowly working towards righting some of his wrongs that he's done in the past.
Right.
And I think it's going to end up costing him in the long run.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know you guys will be tuned in for episode 2. We'll be there as well.
Yeah, thanks for listening in to the podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, we really appreciate it.
Yep.
So Game of Thrones is our second show, and we're looking to add some other shows where we're going to do episode by episode after shows, and then other shows I think we're just going to do reviews on
It's like full season recaps.
Full season recaps, yeah.
So if you guys have any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, shoot us a message.
We'll definitely start putting out more content as shows come out, and maybe some good ones from the past that might need a little bit more discussing. So
yeah, and we actually we're working on some big stuff that hopefully we can share with you soon. And if you're interested, we just started a Patreon, and if you sign up, you'll find out that news first and potentially have access to it first. So
for sure, we appreciate the support. We are at Southport Media on Facebook, Instagram. We put some stuff out there before YouTube and the podcast channel. So please follow us, subscribe, and we'll keep you guys posted as we.
Yeah, and if you're listening to the Game of Thrones episode here and you haven't listened to the others, check out Warrior on Cinemax.
Yep, Warrior's the other
great so far. We're only 2 episodes in, so come on back and join us next time.
Yeah, thanks guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.